Hello, today I'll be taking you through step by step ways on how I teach my children to read. Sometimes it can be frustrating for parents, it can be frustrating for teachers, and even for the child just because they are finding it difficult to read, to pronounce words, or to be fluent in their reading. So, when you have a child, when you are confronted with a child with difficulty in reading, what do you do? What is the first thing you need to do? For me, the first thing I do is to assess the child to be sure the level the child is. And by that, you can ask the child to maybe like point to some letters. For example, you can find out if the child is able to or unable to identify individual sounds, which is phoneme, the smallest units of a sound. If the child is able to identify, recognize, and manipulate sound, if the child is able to recognize individual letters, they're able to point to the letter, the right letter, the correct letter. That's one way of assessing the child. Another way is to ask a child to read like a particular word together. These words could be sight words, and these sight words could be decodable or tricky words. So if a child is able to read sight word with ease, there are so many so many letters that, or so many words. There are so many words that some children are able to pronounce. They can read them without necessarily connecting the sounds to the letter that made up the word. So you can ask them to read words, sight words, decodable or tricky words. So once you're able to locate the child reading difficulty, and let's assume that the child cannot differentiate or cannot um, connect letters to the sounds, like they know the letters, like the A, B, C, D. For example, like a child knows that this is A, this is B, and this is C. Like your child knows that these letters are A, B, C. But when you talk about what sounds are these letters making, what sounds are they making? Some children are finding it difficult. So, as a teacher, what do? You teach the sounds of the letters first. You teach the sounds these letters are making. And how do you do that? Let's assume a child knows the names of the letters like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, and so on. But does not know that the letter A makes the sound A. How do you teach that? You can teach that in various ways. Way to teach that to a child who already mastered the sounds, who already mastered the names of the letters, is by first introducing like objects to the child. Let's say you want to teach the first sound, which is letter A. You can present the child with object that begins with the sound, with the letter. Let's say apple, like, or ant. This is a picture of ants. Then apple, or picture of apple, or picture of astronauts, and various objects that begins with the name of the letter. Then you now ask the child, what is this? You can ask the child that, what is this? The child tell you, oh, ant, oh, ant, or apple, or astronaut, and so on and so forth. Then you ask the child, what sound do you hear at the beginning of this object, of this name? And apple, the child would tell you that the name, the sound, or the word begins with A. And then you take the next letter. What sound do you hear at the beginning of basket, ball, and any object that begins with the letter B that you're presenting to the child? The child will tell you, okay, bag, bag, b. That is how you teach the individual sound. So they tend to connect those letters to the sounds that you're teaching them and to the real life situation. So also the letter C. You can use cup or cat or computer. So what sound do you hear at the beginning of these words? Computer. You can see, look at letter C. This is letter C. Like when you call it by the name of the letter, it is letter C. But the sound the C is making in cat and cup and computer is not C. It is K. So that is why it is important to teach using the sound of each letter that you're introducing to the child. Another way, another way you can use to teach the sound is using the names of places that they have been to. The places they are in, or the countries they are in, or the states, or the places that they have been to. You can use America, or like names of places. You can use let's say you want to teach the letter N, the sound of the letter N. You can teach Nigeria, North America. You can teach Ilorin, Indian. So using the names, the sound, like names of places they've been to introduce them to the sound that the letter is making. Another thing method you can also use is by using their name. For example, my name is Mujibat and my surname is Akorede. Akorede, Mujibat. So you can have Abdurrahman, Alice, Mujibat. Can you give me a name that begins with B, B, Muhammad, B, Bellarmine, Bella, Belly, Carolina or Caroline. Use their names, names of your child, names of children in your classroom. Use the name to teach the sound of the alphabet. So this there's a connection between the sound you're teaching them and the real world situation. So this is very important. You can teach by the names of objects. You can teach by the names of places they've been to. You can teach by by their names. So these are ways you can teach them. I mean, using things around that they see day to day. So that they see day to day. So once you have taught them or they have mastered few sounds, another thing that I want you to know is you don't have to teach all the letters of the alphabet, like all the sounds of the 26 letters of the alphabet. Actually, there are about 44 sounds in the English language, but you don't have to teach all the 44 before you move on to the next step. What is the next step? The next step is blending, like blending, bringing the sounds together, this individual sounds, the a, b, k, d, e. You don't have to wait till they master all the sounds, all the 44 sounds of the letters or all the 26 letters of the alphabet before you start teaching them how to read. And that is blending. You blend to read. Blending is like merging individual sounds, merging or smoothing individual sounds together without breaking it. Do you know that you can bring the sounds together to make words? Like this is a, k, ak. Actually, it can be like nonsense words or jargon words, but the goal is to teach them to blend these sounds together. Then a, b, a, b, k, a, b, k, a, b. We are still sounding individual, sound. We are still making individual sounds. But when you want to blend this together, you're going to like smooth it together without breaking like no, you don't have to stop there. You merge the a and k together. This is actually not real word, okay, but to just teach the concept, that is the goal. So now you can put a sound dot beneath each sound. So when you touch the sound, when you touch the sound dot, you say ah, ah, k. When you touch the k sound, you say k. Then you now drag it together to blend together. K, k. Then faster. Ak, ak. Okay? B, ab, ab, ab. Then now the ABC words like the a, b, k can make the word k, a, b, k, a, b, k, a, b, cab, 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 cab. At Phonics Foundation, we organize our letters not in alphabetical order. You don't have to teach the children in the alphabetical order. You have to teach with the most common sound, the most common phoneme. Okay? And the most common ones are you have the letter T, the letter A, letter S, and so on and so forth. But according to Foundation Phonics arrangements that we use, we start with the A, then S, T, E, and P. Can you see that? A, S, T, E, P. So this is the first tier letters of the first stage of Foundation Phonics Foundation. So you can bring this first two sounds together to blend, like a, s, like a, s, a, s, as. From these five, you can bring a and s together to make a, t, a, t, at, a, t, at. Then you can bring the a and s together. A, s, a, s, is, is. You can also bring a and t together. A, t, a, t, it. Then you can now bring like s, a, t together. S, a, t together. S, a, t, at, sat, it, sit. Now we've not even gotten to p. With just a, s, t, a child can blend and read as, at, is, it, sat, and sit. So this is like the first part of how I teach my students how to read. So we'll continue this lesson in part 2 so that you can also help support your child how to read.